All right, we're back. Tandy Grace still here. We're running through the rest of the day. We're round 6. We may not even have too many teams locking things up, even with a win this round, because we are at 120 teams. Biggest No Rage event ever. And
Nice. I
7
didn't. Yeah.
round Swiss cap is 128. So we're right at the borderline. We're going to watch Pioneer at least kick this round off. We've got the Feather deck versus
Ooh.
the Arclight Phoenix. So that should be good. Players are at the table. Let's go ahead and get down there.
And I wonder if this feather deck is going to have any of the newer cards in it. It's a deck that kind of had all of its stuff already, right? But there was a few cards per day. We get it in probably one every set where it's like a 1 mana protect my creature kind of card. There's a new one from the new set that's 1 white mana and gives a shield counter
Right.
and stuff. And I don't know if that's better than God's Willing. God's Willing is probably better in a lot of spots. The fact that it scries plus it's a little more functionality like post stuff. So we'll have to see. But right now, this just looks like one of those Boros burn decks so far. But this does have that combat trick enabling stuff. And like you said, the card Feather itself can do some really, really dangerous stuff.
Yeah, it can be very cool. Yeah, the shield gear you're talking about. Yeah, God's Willing seems better in basically almost any scenario except actual sweepers, where shields are the new mechanic where you can prevent damage or destruction.
Well, now the jig is up. So, you started off with what looks like a typical Boros deck, and then you're going to have Dreadhorde Arcanist coming out in turn 2. And this isn't a red-black deck where that card really gets played quite a bit in Pioneer. This is a red-white deck. So, the Izzet Phoenix player, Chris Ward, maybe isn't having Feather directly in his mind just yet, but has got to be thinking the fact, like, this is weird. This is a little different. What exactly is this deck?
So
here's a card that's been added from the new set as well. This is Strangle. So it's a 1 red mana sorcery that deals 3 damage to a creature, or does it hit planeswalkers as well? I can't remember.
I don't believe so, but that is 5 cards on the list now.
And
we're getting there.
This is a card that I was actually, there's part of me that's a little angry they got printed into Pioneer, but that's either here nor there. And this is a Feather. Now that will be able to survive Strangles, but it will die to one of these lightning axes that's in Chris Ward's hand.
All right, so let's see how
this is going to be a really good
Ledger
turn.
Shredder, and then so no Arclight coming back this turn, but clearing out the Feather is the big thing.
Yeah, this is a really good turn for him here because this is going to grow the Shredder, or give the chance to grow the Shredder if he wants, but also he gets to discard a Phoenix. Let's say he had found a second one there. I think that's actually my favorite pitch to Ledger Shredder is pitching an Arclight Phoenix. So.
Sure, I mean that's what you're really hoping for. Yeah, this deck is all really relying on the Phoenix. It's the only creatures in the deck are Ledger Shredder and Arclight Phoenix.
So this one has no Thing in the Ice, is what you're saying,
right?
Right. So this is the attack you version, yeah. Okay, and like a little less of the controlling version, where Thing in the Ice can kind of would actually be great in this kind of match because it's something that can get around all the protection spells from the Feather deck.
Yeah, certainly bouncing things you don't get protected by God's Willing or shields.
So is this Gird for Battle? Which one is this one? There's so many of these.
Let me get you here. It's not Gird for Battle. It's
a similar one. This might be one of the ones of Flashback. So this is going to put a +1/+1 counter on the Monastery.
Yeah, this is Homestead Courage. Yeah.
Okay, that's that one.
Yeah, you're right. It has with Flashback. It's +1/+1 counter and Vigilance till the end of the turn.
And it's also going to grow it by 1 for the turn for the trigger for Monastery Swifter, plus the +1/+1 counter. So this is a really cool one. The fact that, it's got, multiple uses out of it. You're going to get 2 off of it every time with something like Monastery Swiftspear, but also still into into the realm of like being good with Feather and Dreadhorde Arcanist and stuff like that too. So you're going to see a lot of cards like this in this deck mixed in with these Monastery Swiftspears and stuff like that. So the key for Harrison here is to be able to get his creatures out of range of dying to the burn spells from Chris Ward, and to not draw too much of one side of his deck. Like he needs to not draw all creatures or all of the combat trick / growing cards, like the cards we've seen here. So I think this is Defiant Strike, by the way. So this is one of the cards out of.
Yeah, that artwork is not familiar to me, but
I think it's Defiant Strike.
I mean, that would make sense.
Yeah, because the card was drawn. Okay, yeah. I know a decent bit of the, what are those called? The spell book cards? I think that's what they're called. Yeah. I don't know all of them, but
All right, so an attack in there for a sizable chunk. Vigilance because of the Homestead Courage. So Swift Spirit stays open, but
yeah, I think
just a
attack for
2/3. It's gonna be tough for that to survive a lightning axe at any point.
yeah. So let's see. Does he have something like God's Willing here? Does he have one of the protection spells? And it does look like that exact is. I was gonna say there was another spellbook card. This is God's Willing. So what this does is going to make this be pro red and scry 1 here. So doubling up here, not only protecting the creature but giving a little card selection too. And it seems like this is a hard one on top of Harrison's deck. It does look
Yeah,
like he's going to keep it.
good thing because the land is the only card left in hand there for Harrison, and these heroic style decks definitely benefit from being able to bluff as much as they do from actually being able to cast spells. It's hard to bluff without cards in your hand.
Yeah, what's
But
better, the actual card or the threat of it?
yeah,
Well, here's a card
exactly.
that's
Well,
actually great no matter what. This is Treasure Cruise. So this is what
hmm
is this only one? This is 2 spells so far. So if he has a land and a 1-drop. So this is
yeah.
the trigger for Ledger Shredder. Looks like it's going to get rid of a land. So we're going to draw 3 cards. Oh, is that a Strangle? It's pro red though for this turn. So
Yeah, so that's not going to drop for this turn, but
you could strangle your own creature here. I believe. I think it could target any creature.
why would we do that?
If you wanted to get back Phoenix, this would be your 3rd
Oh, I
spell this
see.
turn,
You're
right?
right.
Yeah. Doesn't look like he's going to do it though. So he's going to play this slow. I don't mind this at all. It's not like you're under a ton of pressure here. Harrison was down to 1 card left, but he does have the flashback spell, and this card was left on top from a scry as well. So you have to believe that it's at least a spell that's relevant to this game.
hmm
All
Well,
right.
he's
So
going to
with this
go
on the
for it.
stack, it looks like we're gonna get the lightning axe. Yeah. What do you keep here?
I think you keep the charm, or maybe you decide not to cast it at all.
Yeah, like the charm can kill some creatures or dig you deeper in your deck. Strangle can kill a creature through one of the +1/+1 effects. So there's a lot to think about here. Also, let's keep count here. There's 1 spell for Harrison Fang as well this turn. So the second one will trigger that Ledger Shredder. This is the hardest part about
And
playing against the
wow.
yeah, it does resolve. This is the hardest part of
Yeah.
playing against the heroic decks is
Yeah. I
timing
mean,
your stuff correctly.
that's dangerous for Chris Ward, but it's
Mhm.
away with it there.
Oh,
And
hell of a
now
top deck here, by the way.
looking good. Pieces of the puzzle. Flip 5. Take 2 instants and sorceries.
Looks like you hit 2 there. The last one helping out quite a bit. Oh, is that the temporal trespass? I think is what just got added. That is the delve time walk. It looks like
That's a nice
consider.
one.
Yeah, it's gonna be the
I
second
definitely
spell.
lost the game to that this week.
Hmm.
Where you're just like, you're pacing things out. Okay, they have these Arclight Phoenixes, whatever. I can take, a hit and a half
Hmm.
with the whole flock, and they're like, oh, I'm going to take an extra turn. And now you're dead.
Speaking of his Phoenix, the second one just got added to the yard. Though I don't know they're gonna get into play anytime soon. We'll see. This looks like an attack from Ledger Shredder here. I think that's okay. We still have the Izzet Charm and the Temple Trespass. It's gonna be hard to chain all of this together, but we'll see. Chris Ward's deck can do some really disgusting stuff. Now, there was no creature follow up last turn. I think it's what took time for Harrison to figure out if he should keep his card on. It looks like it was another sorcery speed way to pump his deck. And this is what I was
Mhm.
talking about. You need to avoid draws like this when you're
Yeah, I mean,
playing the
once
red
you're out
white
of
deck.
creatures in heroic, oh boy. Okay, so
It's the
I'm
all
just
filler, no thriller draw, as I
yeah.
like to call it.
All right, so Ledger Shredder at 3 power. If Chris can't bring back Phoenix this turn, I guess. Well, okay, here we go. I was gonna say if
He's
we
gonna
can't bring it
try.
back, maybe we don't cast anything, but he's gonna go for it.
So he's going to dig 2 and discard 2. All right. If he wants to try to bring back Phoenix this turn, he's going to have to take a risk. So what you might see him do here is set up to do it next turn. So he might pitch these 2 and then just cast pieces of the puzzle, trigger Ledger Shredder.
Mhm.
Yeah, get possibly another, if he finds, say, okay, well, he's going to go ahead and just time walk actually. So
With
maybe
this
next turn he can bring back the okay. So this is actually good. So he gets to attack here, and then next turn he's gonna have all of his mana, and he's gonna
yeah,
start off with pieces of the puzzle,
right.
and possibly he probably be able to find lethal here. Actually,
All right. Shredder will connive,
it does look like a
grow.
pitched opt. Yep, nice ops by the way, the original ones.
Yeah, see, that's
Love that.
good for me. Easily recognizable.
Yeah,
Chris
because
Ward
that
doing
set
a
came out
favor for
in
everybody.
yeah, that came out in 1999, back when Joe was in college.
That's true.
I was making a joke. Wow, it was actually true. Okay. All right. Well, It looks like Consider and Expressive Iteration are here. It looks like another Temporal Trespass as well.
Hmm. Well, without a land, I guess there's not actually going to be a trespass, a
Well,
follow-up trespass this turn, but Consider and
another Consider here is
another
going to be able
Consider,
to.
that would do it.
Yep. You don't have to grow the Shredder here. I think you can just pitch the. It doesn't look like he's gonna. You can, pitch the Temporal Trespass. All right. So he's gonna keep the land. That's gonna trigger that. It's gonna grow that. Consider. Otawara down. Draw the card. Gets another land here. Another Consider. Trying to keep up with all this. Card on top. Looks like that one's gonna get added. Expressive Iteration. Yep, it's a great one. Here come the Phoenixes, and you're dead.
Yeah, that was well done. That's for exact damage, and Chris Ward will pick up game one. Yeah, that was a good one.
Yep. And this is the kind of matchup that can be a problem for the red-white heroic deck. The Izzet deck, you saw it there, right? It has a lot of removal in it, right? You saw Lightning Strike, you saw Strangles, you saw Shock variants. Those are good,
Mhm.
especially if you time them well. They can kill the creatures. But one of the other problems is if you're getting in combat with this deck and you're trying to attack with like a tall creature, like one big creature that doesn't have trample, they can bring back multiple Phoenixes, right? Block with one, attack
Yeah.
you with the other ones, and then bring back the Phoenix again and do it again the
Yep.
next turn. So this is kind of a scary matchup for a heroic player here.
I mean, you saw he ran out of creatures. Now, if there had been a God's willing or some sort of instant to save from that last lightning axe, that would have looked very different. Then it would have
Mhm.
been like you were talking about. It would have been struggling for Chris Ward to find enough chump blockers to stay alive long enough. But it goes the other way here on top of the temporal trespass. Yeah, it's such a cool element to the deck. There's actually 3 copies in the deck,
Mm.
and yeah, really neat. All right, so let's go ahead and switch over to whatever's available.
Looks like modern.
Okay, and see, always easy to track. Izzet Breach deck?
It looks like we might be seeing lethal possibly this turn. This looks like an unholy heat is on the stack targeting a Snapcaster Mage, but a couple cards left over in Tim Match's hand here, which they do look like they're both spells. So, and this is a high opportunity cost counterspell here. So he needs to be able to block the Snapcaster Mage, but it means that he can't use his Memory Deluge as well this turn. So a little mana inefficient, but looks like he just really needs to keep his threat in play. Emery's going to activate here, put a Bauble into play. It's going to trigger the Deathrite. I'm sorry, Deathrite Shaman. Whew. The Dragon Rage's Chandler, and your creature was safe, but might not be in the future. So it looks like we're going to cycle this
Just
Aether
looking,
Spellbomb. Uh,
yeah, looking
I'm
for a bolt to finish the game off here, probably.
They're really there we go. They are really testing us here today, Joe, with
Yeah,
these card names.
Ether Spellbomb. That's not a test. Come on, that's an easy one. I was
How
playing when that came out.
Joe, that came out in 2001. We're having cards
Well,
that
if
came
I was
out
in
this
college in
year.
'99, clearly I was playing in 2001.
Yeah.
Come on, that was in limited.
I'm
Ether
just saying,
Spellbomb.
Joe,
I don't
we're
know if
getting
this is still the case or not, but I remember checking at one point years ago, and Ether Spellbomb was my most. I had more Ether
drafted.
Spellbombs than any other card.
Yeah.
From drafting Mirrodin. I had 101 or 100 something copies of Ether Spellbomb. I'm Magic Online.
Have you ever done it with Arena where they send you the email about your like most
Yeah.
drafted card or whatever? This reminded me because they had quick drafts. They do the throwbacks. They had called him originally, and on it, I drafted that set a few too many times. And it was Path to the North Tree, I think is the name of the card, the enchantment. I had
Is
like
that
a literal million of them.
is that like the rampant growth that you can pay
Mhm.
mana to
Yeah, it's my favorite
something?
card in this. You could pay 7 with Wooburg to like shock something, make a 2/2, gain 2 life,
That's
and draw
right.
2
That's
cards.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that was a cool card. Okay, so I imagine some matches available. Nope, all games
Yeah,
are shuffling. All right.
we came in
Well,
right in the worst spot possible.
I'm
Yeah.
out of Tannin pranks. So yeah,
Well,
so
just to go back to that, just saying this, I'm getting really mentally tested here, right? Like I just did the Flesh and Blood Pro Tour where I
yeah,
have to
you
know
did.
pretty much every card that game has ever had, and I
How
still
many
don't.
sets are in that game? How many different cards? How many unique cards are in that game? Like
Well,
800 tops?
there's a lot.
Yeah.
And then there's different versions of all the cards too.
We have
Plus,
that
there's
too.
a lot of hey, Joe,
Okay.
okay, let me talk here. It's difficult, all right. I'm old. I try to learn new
My
things,
my
right?
personality is not one to just let things slip by. And
Yeah, I
if
know.
a questionably factual statement is made, I
Sure.
don't like wait till the end. I'm just like,
Yeah.
hey,
Yeah, you just jump in. No, it's completely fine. And then we've got this where we've got a format in Pioneer where it's like, and even Modern, where a lot of the cards of the last 3 years are the most popular cards. And then we go over to Legacy, where some of these cards haven't been printed since 1995 that we're
yeah.
talking about. So there's a big delve of knowledge here in years that we're trying to keep up with. My brain can only take so much. So
That's fair enough. I mean, I struggle too. Like, I mean,
Speaking
this
of
is
old
I'm
cards, Joe,
certainly a lot of these Pioneer cards were cards I knew when they were limited, and then they've passed out of my memory at this point.
this is
But here we
Adam
are.
Saba. Is a guy I actually know, really good player.
So we actually had Chris Ward listed as Pioneer, and now he's moved on to the Modern seat. So probably he's been in the same seat the whole time, and I don't know where he
Are you
actually is.
sure
But
he's not just flip flopping to
I
make
mean,
sure he gets
maybe
the
is that, I
yeah?
don't know if that's allowed or not. That'd be pretty cool.
Can I just play them all?
Yeah. So we
I'll just
got
Bobby Fischer the tournament. I'll just play all the games.
yeah, simultaneous. Yeah. All right.
Mhm.
So Adam Saba here with, I would
Yikes!
say, a good start for the Lens deck.
Yikes! Now, lands generally is considered ahead in the matchup against Izzet Delver, any of the Delver variants, but the Delver deck being up 1-0 is kind of a coup for like early games. Like generally, their sideboarder games are a little bit better. You have a few less bad cards in
Hmm.
your deck, but we'll have to see. Being up a game, getting game one is huge in this matchup.
Yeah. Well, fortunate it appears to be, because Adam Saba's start in game two is just, I
Perfect,
mean,
pretty much.
there's
Yeah.
no exploration, but anything else. Now, I wonder, this is because we do have these new style of lands decks showing up now, these 8 mulch decks. Oh, that's right. I looked at this deck list earlier and it says 60 swamps. So this was obviously a paper submitted deck list.
Mhm.
So no idea.
So this was submitted online, right? Right. So we'll have to see if he has the mulch version or not. And here's where it lands really gets to flex its muscles. You have one land in play. You just got wastelanded. There's a life from the loam in the graveyard. And this is going to be an uphill battle. A surgical extraction off the top. That is huge, Joe.
It is. Okay, so do you wasteland this saga here?
It's kind of scary. And like they go get one of the one drops. What are they usually getting in this matchup that's good and impactful?
As far as the tutor target, I mean,
Yes.
there's could be a retrofitter foundry to just generate
A
creatures
way to
over the
win.
long
Yeah.
run. Um, could be a needle.
Yeah, there's a couple different ones.
Yeah.
Also, in Adam's hand here, something that's going to really help out with strategies going here. He has a tabernacle in his hand, so if a creature ever comes up, he had the
Hmm.
kind of lock piece where you life them alone the wasteland their land, tabernacle, kill your creature in your upkeep. But that's not going to be happening anymore because it does look like the surgical is going to go ahead and hit this life from the loam,
Hmm.
and he's going to get to see the hand too, which looks like it's Grove, Beseju, and is that a Pyroblast? I think it's a Pyroblast or Red
Yeah.
Elemental Blast,
Yeah.
a
That's a
Reb of
pirate
some
blast.
kind.
Okay, this is smart. This can help. Yeah, Mac decide whether he wants to wasteland or not.
Yeah, I
And
like this a lot. Yeah.
I think my instinct would be to say to go ahead and wasteland because you just don't want to deal with an extra construct.
Mhm.
And then like maybe Shadow Spear is probably in there. So there's like, I don't know. I'm not worried about any of those cards. I'm just worried about the second construct.
There's exploration map as well. I'm trying to look for some of the
Okay.
targets and stuff in
Yeah.
here. Beautiful deck here from this player, from Adam. Yeah, just gonna go through and take a look real quick. Probably see, what targets can we get. I must have maybe I misread his hand. I thought there was a tabernacle in there. It looks like it's on the bottom of his deck. It's kind of hard sometimes with these lands. They all look kind of similar in some ways. There's a
Hmm.
Field of the Dead as well, so that's something that's good to get with map if the game goes long.
Yeah.
It
And
does look
pirate.
like exploration map and spear might have been the only ones I saw.
There's pirate spellbomb
And
also.
Pirate Spellbomb, okay, that's a good
Yeah.
one too, yeah. It's a nice little removal spell. So it does look
So
like the Wasteland, so Joe looks like he might have gotten this one right, because
well, we'll see. We'll see. Yeah. Okay.
he does have a Delver, he does have a threat that he can play, but this matchup plays really weird. I don't know how much you've played lands, but I've played lands in testing, and then I've played with, the Delver deck a lot, right? And this matchup plays really weird, the fact that it plays really slow, right? You're going to play with a limited amount of resources every turn, so it's not going to pace out the way that a normal Legacy deck does, or Legacy
Hmm.
game does. There's going to be a lot of like turn threes, play a land as my only mana source, play a threat, and
Right.
try to
Right.
figure it out from there.
Yeah. So there's gonna be a lot of turn sevens that look like turn
Mhm.
threes.
Yeah, exactly. Like you can never tell what turn it is just by walking up and looking at this matchup. Because look, we're in what the third turn for Mack here, and he has no permanents in play. And this is a
Yeah.
very common thing that happens in this matchup. So if you like LD, if you like prison style stuff, if you like things like this happening where people just don't get to play the game, like if you're that kind of person, if you like the thing, lands is the deck for you.
All right. Across for two with the construct. Probably won't be growing too much more unless another saga comes up. And Mack Endress, do you have a basic land in your deck? I think most of the decks these days do have a basic island.
Yeah, it's been kind of a push the last few years to add a basic land into these. I for the longest time was so staunch against it, like like very badly against it. And then when the deck started getting a little more homogenized, there was just wastelands everywhere. Lands started getting really popular, and then whenever you get ghost quartered, that's when you really start to think about it, Joe. If you get ghost quartered, that means your opponent really wants it and really wants to stick it to you. Or if you get the white decks, your kind of style decks, the miracle styles, started
Mhm.
playing Path to Exile in their sideboard a little bit as well. I
Sure.
was like, okay, I'm putting a basic in my deck.
Yeah. No, it makes sense. And it's just a way to secure, barring almost anything, Goblin Settlers, maybe you're good to go on your at least the
Hmm.
first mana source here.
Yeah, this is one that's just going to stick around, right, for the game. So all of his other lands can, at the least, act as lotus petals from here on out.
Yeah. And with no
Yeah,
loam, I mean, those
right.
wastelands are one shots. They're not coming
Yep.
back. So Matt can get some real work done here. Dragon Rage
And,
Chandler, we can see in hand.
and with the amazing start that Adam had in this game, this is a very winnable game
Mhm.
for Mac here. He's going to add another threat to the board here, and we've seen Adam's hand and what's going on right on the board. He does have this Karn shard going, but like not much else.
Right.
And this is what happens sometimes with lands is they have this initial barrage of like do all these really broken things set up for a really broken turn or something along these lines. And if you can stop that, this kind of thing happens. Now, Mac is a little low on resources here. He has a lot of lands in his hand, but he does have a ponder here, which with Dragon Rage Chandler, we'll be able to see 4 possible cards here. If a brainstorm is found in any of these top 4 cards, he is off to the races.
Mhm. So we know that Adam has a red blast here, or a pyro blast. They can take the ponder. It could also take the delver,
Yeah. Just
and he's gonna have to make a decision here. And I don't think that's an easy decision
it's
necessarily.
definitely not. It looks like the ponder, well, at least that's gonna resolve that part of it. So and now ponder's on the stack. All right, ponder is gonna resolve. So it looks like he's gonna fight over Delver, possibly. So I think that is a brainstorm. Yeah, that's a brainstorm and a Murktide. This is a pretty dang good ponder here. So what he can do here is he can add the Murktide to his hand, leave the brainstorm on top of his library, and that is going to flip his Delver of Secrets next turn. But it looks like he added the brainstorm to his hand.
Hmm.
Huh.
Well, he could upkeep brainstorm, I guess,
But
but
then he doesn't have a spell that he's guaranteed to flip his Delver with. So now he
correct.
does have the fetch lands to kind of clear from here, and this is going to be okay. But yeah, I think there might have been a tiny bit of missing was there. I might have misseen one of the cards here. This might it was a blue card. It might not be Murktide. Let's see. Oh, it does look like it's Murktide, so it does look like we missed a Delver flip here, but it's
Okay.
completely fine.
And Mac's still aware of the blast in hand. Okay, here's another surveil trigger.
And this is going to get red blasted, which it's going to leave him a little shields down for the Murktide coming behind this the next turn. But Adam can't know that. He's going to ask his buddy right here, hey, should I be rebbing this? And this is one of those ones where you just kind of you gotta have a feel for the game, right? Like, what kind of hand do you think Mac has? He still has 4 cards, but I mean, it is a brainstorm. So, yep, go
Yep.
ahead and use the Mox Diamond as well. So life points not brought over to Mac because Mac's life total is pretty low here.
Yeah. Yes, it is. All right, so here's another land. So that'll cost another point and drop Mac to 6. Construct continues to attack for 2, but he will have time to get the Murktide on the board.
And the Delver thing might not. Okay, there is an attack response. The Delver thing might not even matter if Mac was inclined to maybe like say block here just to save a little life. But it does look like he's going to go ahead and initiate the race because the Murktide behind this is going to be so large.
Hmm.
The problem is here you're starting to make yourself really susceptible to another Red Blast from Adam here. And that's the thing that I would be worried about because your Dragon Rage Chandler can never block this game. Well, it actually might be able to next turn, depending on how you delve with your
Right.
Murktide. So
I'm not even sure it actually did it have actually I think there is a Delver in the graveyard, so
yeah,
yeah.
if there's a creature in the graveyard, then I
Yeah.
know for a fact we have 3. We have instant
Yeah.
sorcery, land.
I think
So
the third card from the bottom might be a Delver.
we might be wrong actually, because Adam only went to 19. So yeah, don't fetch yet. Don't fetch in the end step there. Okay. That's a trigger, yeah. You can do the so he knows the top card of his deck, right? And I think it's a card that he doesn't want to draw. The problem is if he fetches here, Adam, I was supposed to say you can actually still do it here. You still play around this. I was worried about him not being able to get 2 mana in play to be able to do the Murktide, but you can get around this, yeah.
So how would he surveilled and kept, right? I thought he knew the top. Maybe I'm wrong about that.
No, this is the 3rd card from the Brainstorm, right? Which was a land, I believe. And so this the old Steam
yeah.
vents that gets added to these lists. I was supposed to say I've seen this for a while. So
You're right. And now, I mean, Punishing Fire, if there's another fetch to cast a Murktide, even a Punishing Fire, which I believe we saw a couple copies of.
And that's something I was going to bring up last turn. I thought about like possibly blocking the Construct to keep your life total just a little bit higher along these fetches because you don't want to go to 2. Now, here's the thing. I didn't look for it when he looked through Adam's list to see if the Punishing Fires were still in there, but I've got to believe they are. They're pretty good in this matchup. All right, so it looks like Delver Trigger is going to miss.
Yeah.
So if this is a land, he can stay at 3.
Unlicensed Hearse.
Ooh, that's a sweet one. I haven't seen that one yet in the Izzet list.
Yeah.
Pretty good in this matchup. Yeah.
That's not going to be able to block this turn.
So he's going to go down to 2 and make a Murktide here. Now Adam just needs to draw a Punishing Fire. Looks like
Punishing Fire or a blast, like you mentioned. Yeah, there's a couple routes here.
Yeah.
And he really needs. I mean, Adam has done nothing this game. So he had an unbelievable turn 1, and
that's what you get for playing lands, though, Joe.
Yeah.
This is a thing that happens in this deck. I was talking about it. It's like, yeah, you have these super explosive. It's almost like the Affinity deck. You have these like super explosive turns, right? Where you're like play 3 lands, play a Mox Diamond, do this stuff. Like maybe have a way to get my lands back, or play a bunch of them. But if you don't have any of the payoffs with this, like you're not threatening your opponent. We saw one Surgical, a very timely top deck from Mack here, just be backbreaking in this game.
Yeah.
So this is going to be one very low. Oh, supposed to say this isn't the Murktide. Okay.
This is the Hearse.
And this is crew 2.
Yeah.
So this is a little harder to crew as well because he's only got the Delver Secret. So if this has to attack, this Dragon Rage Channeler has to attack, a Reb Blast is lethal here as well now.
If the no, if a Dragon
now
Rage
it does. Now it does have to attack.
Yeah. So right, it's lethal, and the Delver has to chump block.
So I was going to say, can we call down here? He has to attack with his Dragon Rage Chandler.
Oh yeah,
I believe.
Bobble, Land, Ponder, Brainstorm. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, this is, or unless this was post combat.
No. Did he post combat the? Okay, that's very possible. That he post combated the hearse. Okay, good call. It's very possible.
I mean, I don't know. He may have. Here is Bosechu take out the Volcanic.
I guess we're gonna try to run him out of lands in his deck.
That's tough because that can get another Volcanic. Or
just get this out of the way. So he's never going to be able to get this to put a spell on top, and this gets a tapped land out of the way.
Yeah,
out of his deck. I like this play.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah. So Punishing Fire can end the game. Reb puts him in a really bad spot. I don't know how big the hearse is just yet.
It's empty right now.
Right.
It can't block at all in the first turn.
So, can Dragon Rage Chandler block?
Yeah.
Because I know it has to attack, but does it have this text that it also can't block?
No, it can block.
Okay. I couldn't remember if it had the text of that as well. All right. So looks like an exploration, a little late to the party here from Adam.
Yeah, late to the party. That's an understatement. Also, no life from the loam. That exploration's not going to do much at all. But okay, Hearse is going to scoop up a couple cards here. Doesn't really matter, I don't think. I guess maybe there's a Ramming Up Excavator in the deck. So
yeah, that's a good point. Actually, he's seen the deck too. Like he's gone in there. So yeah. Yep, nice little die there to let us know how big that hearse is. It's nice.
Hey, Delver flips.
It's been a while, Dever. What's up? Forcible out of the hand here. Now, if you didn't want to put that Murktide into play, now you can kind of insulate yourself from a few of the things that Adam could have as outs from here, but we'll see. So it looks like we're gonna have to attack just from Dragon Rage. They're gonna leave up things, and I'd be super inclined to still cast a gigantic Murktide here and try to finish this game as quickly as possible. But looks
Mhm.
like we're gonna play a little safe field here from Mack.
Okay. I mean, what is this protecting us from?
Yeah,
It doesn't protect us from punishing fire.
yeah,
Well,
punishing fire, it protects from that.
it doesn't. Wait,
But
if we
it
force
doesn't, like
punishing,
you said. Yeah, it doesn't. Crop rotation doesn't kill you like it
yeah.
does in some spots. So yeah, I kind of like just casting the Murktide there.
I mean, so well, what does this protect you from? Blast. Yeah, you survive blast this turn, which you wouldn't. Oh, there's punishing fire, and there is. Yep.
What?
The
Going down to one.
okay.
So fetch lands are turned off for the rest of the game now too, and then
Well,
return
so
punishing
he'll
fire to hand.
go
Yeah,
back to
yeah,
2 and then kill you. Oh, and the
yeah.
hearse
With
can blow it up. Okay.
yeah, with the trigger on the stack,
Yeah.
Hearse is going to eat the punishing fire.
Okay. This is much better than I thought. I
Yeah,
I missed the fact that the hearse was gonna eat the
yeah,
punishing fire.
yeah. This is an actual trigger, so we have to find the second punishing fire now. Oh, well, actually, Mac goes up to 2 again here,
Right.
right?
Yeah. Max at 2.
See, the players might have skipped over that because there was a colored mana added there in the life gain, right? Now the Delver has to chump here, so
Right. Well, it's a trade at
it's a
least.
trade now. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
sorry, yeah, it's only 3 artifacts. So Adam banking on finding another one of those punishing fires.
Oh, that's a significant draw. So a force
Yeah,
of will is drawn, and that should be castable because the max should be at 2.
yeah. If he
Uh,
finds a blue spell, yeah, I believe Max should be at 2 here. Let's see how does Adam get out of this from here?
how does Adam get out of this from here? Let's see. Well, how many turns does he have? He's got
He's got about 3.
if Mac draws a Murktide, then he's dead in 1 because a Murktide can crew
Hmm.
um the
Hearse.
hearse. Oh, he's 11. Sorry. Wait, 4, 6. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I realized I was at lower life. He's actually because this will go to 6. Yeah, so he's not. He's still got at least one turn,
Adam definitely
regardless.
needs to play this game out as well too. Let's say, does look like his team has a decent lead though in the other matches. It looks like the Pioneer match has concluded with Dan winning over Harrison. So the Boros Feather deck goes down there, and then the Izzet Breach deck is up a game right now. So they're deep into game 2, I think, from Tim, because we watched the very end of that game. And after sideboard, that those games can definitely drag out.
Mm-hmm. All right. So Hearst comes across for 6.
Is that a Glacial
Glacial Chasm.
Chasm? Yeah.
Okay.
And a
And a
Rashidian Port.
port.
Okay.
All right. Well, that keeps Murktide off the board.
Mm-hmm. It
Just less
shouldn't be
relevant.
able to. I mean, Max should be at 2.
Yeah, I
But
know.
I'm pretty positive Max should be at 2, right? Like with the Grove
I
activation that turn.
yeah. I I don't see how it could not be because just to trigger the punishing fire, you would have to.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think they just as I was say the table spotter verified the live totals. I feel like that's wrong, but I could just be let's stop
Well,
harping on it. So all right,
yeah. We'll
attack
drop
for
it for
3
now.
from the Dragon Rain Chandler. You're gonna put Adam in check. Oh yeah, I forgot the Glacial Chasm. Sorry, this game has been messy.
Okay. So what is Adam looking for here? Is punishing fire, obviously. Um, Valakut exploration if there's a land in hand.
Yeah, I think he doesn't have a
Um,
hand here though, because he played out the chasm
yeah.
last turn. So it does look like he needs a top deck very soon here.
I guess exploration or a land and the other next turn is still enough. If Dan's dropping to 5 here, he'd go to 1 next turn. Or he could even conceivably let the chasm go. That's gonna allow that's means to allow him to extend it for a turn.
I'm just going to go ahead and port down the land here. And Bobble's going to get played, trigger the Dragon Rage Chandler. Going to get a little bit of scrying going on here. Or surveilling.
Show us. All right, another ineffectual attack from Dragon Rage Chandler. Boy, if that Delver had flipped early game, this would be over.
Yeah, I mean that's the story of a Izzet Delver's player's life, by the way.
Yeah. So let's see, what are we doing here?
Yeah,
This is
that missed
stage
opportunity.
copying Chasm.
Yeah, that missed opportunity that we were talking about, Joe, with
Yeah.
the flipping of the Delver really looming large here.
Yeah. So this is, when is this happening? This should be, okay, this is upkeep.
Right,
No.
yeah, because the bobble trigger is on the stack, it looks like.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so upkeep. The SP stage copies Chasm. Chasm does not pay its upkeep. Adam's still protected.
Ooh,
Mazavith.
that's a good one.
Okay. Yeah. That
That can buy some
actually
time.
conceivably means that Glacial Chasm could be dropped. And actually, the Thespian stage could at some point copy Mazavith. It's got a counter on it now, though. Or it would get one. Yeah, never mind. So there's no way of avoiding that. Am I right on that? So if that, once he untaps, even if he copied something else, it would still get a fading counter.
The trigger happens, yeah.
Yeah.
Because you move into your upkeep, so the trigger would happen, yeah.
Yeah.
This game is real complicated. So it looks like Delver, Murktide, is that, yeah, I was about to say another Bobble.
And this
finding
whole
more
time,
threats here is nice.
This whole time there are multiple land cards that Adam could draw to just win the game, and Mack clearly knows that, and would love to get this game over with. He just can't do it.
He also has he can stop punishing fire now too. He has a blue card in his hand along with Force of Negation.
Yeah, sure, you're right.
So that gets around the forcible problem of paying 1 life.
Yep.
Unless Dan plays around that by doing it at the right timing along with port, and then he can't pitch a card to it.
Okay, so Adam drops to 1 with the, now he can copy the Mazavith with the Thespian stage next turn. And here's a Wasteland. Okay, that wipes out the Force of Negation hardcast plan.
Yep, so actually relevant.
I'm a little unclear on if Thespian stage copies Mazavith, and then when Adam untaps, it would have a counter on it, but it would no longer be
a trigger anymore.
Yeah.
Looks like an attack. It's going to meet Mazavith activation.
It doesn't. It's the Glacial Chasm is still in play now.
Okay, yeah. So now he's going to do it. Okay.
Yeah, post combat, this will become Mazavith. So it'll still have a counter on it. It's just irrelevant now, I think.
Yeah, I don't know how layers work with this.
Neither do I.
I'm not a level 3 judge. Looks like Brainstorm here. Trigger Surveil.
Both players are at 1.
I wonder if Mack has any lightning bolts left in his deck. This is a card that most people immediately cut out of the matchup. I sometimes lead in like 1 or 2. It depends on if I have a braid or not in my sideboard.
I wonder if Mack has any volcanic islands left in his deck, because
that's actually a good point too. Yeah. I'm not saying it's correct to leave them in, but there are spots where sometimes they bring in some creatures or something on sideboard. Sometimes you just need reach out of your deck to finish it off. It also depends on how many sideboard cards you have for the matchup. But generally, you don't have a lot of lightning bolts or any post board in this matchup.
Sure.
Surveil. Yep, get rid of that card. Nice little. I think that is a lightning bolt.
Okay.
Yeah, that is a lightning bolt underneath the Brainstorm.
So all he needs now is a Blood Moon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was gonna say there's no red source. He doesn't have a red source. He's been like sandbagging in his hand or anything, right?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I suppose if he had one, that would have been smart to do that, but
Mhm.
no, I don't believe.
Yeah, you would have
No,
the
there's
foresight, 5 or 6 turns ago to realize, like, hey, I might need to bolt my opponent this game, so I need to make sure that I keep a red source, free. So it
Mhm.
looks like the 2 Maze of Iths are going to clean this up. Another creature that can crew the Hearse would be nice, but no red mana means that you can't play these Dragon Rage Chandlers.
So if a punishing fire is drawn and Adam waits until Mack's turn to cast it, I think he's good.
Yeah, that's does he see that play? That's the important part because he knows the Force of Will is offline. Does he play around Force negation? That would be. I will say this: if Adam makes that play, I'm not saying that he can't make it and that he's not the player capable of it. I would actually be impressed to think about it that much because most people would just fire it off right away. Be like, oh, I top decked. Getting being pretty excited about this. So what are we looking for here? How many Delvers do we have left in the deck? You're looking for another Delver, possibly. You can't really ever cast a Murktide here because of
Right.
because
Because of the port.
of the port. So you're looking for the the last Delver because there's a Murktide, but we don't have any way to get another blue source in play. So all right, do this whole song and dance again.
What a
This is a
crazy
crop
game.
rotation. All right, what does crop rotation go and get? I guess we can make a 20/20 at some point, but
Yeah,
then you
I
have to
mean, the
lose.
Thespian stage in play, he could get a Merit Lage.
Yeah, you have to lose your Maze of Ith, but you do get a 20/20 blocker. It does not have trample those, but you could attack into the Delver of Secrets.
Mm-hmm. As long as you force a chump block, it's okay that you
Okay.
don't have a Maze of
Looks
Ith
like
to.
it looks like we're getting a Urza Saga. Okay.
Okay.
Because I can go get Exploration Map as well. So this kind of gives you like both if the game continues the way it
What?
is.
Yeah. Well, it can get or Pirate Spellbomb. I mean, that would
Or
do it.
Pirate Spellbomb. Yeah, that's a really good point. Yeah. And go up to 2 here. Okay. Gotta forgot about the Pirate Spellbomb.
So a Wasteland wins the game for Mack still. I think taking out the Maze of Ith. Okay, Field of Dead. That's fine.
It's far away from ever being relevant.
Yeah.
So all right, so it looks like we're gonna have a wash, rinse, repeat. Go. You can take these cards. Looks like port you. So all the things we've been seeing so far. Does he have anything into here? I guess he can cast a brainstorm. Oh, never mind. Oh, he drew a wasteland.
Oh my.
He had to have it this turn.
Did he put two? Geez, he's got a lot of cards in hand. Yeah, I guess he hasn't been able to cast anything. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, Wasteland would do it. Maze of Ith cannot stop an attacker before the attack happens, and I guess the life total previously
A little.
jumped to 0 because here comes the lethal attack, and that. Well, okay, we got that fixed. The attack is coming.
I gotta say,
Now
this is
what?
lethal, right? Yeah. You see, I'm saying like, yeah, there's nothing I can
Okay,
do.
so
It looks like we're gonna get another game here, Joe, as well,
I
because it looks
can't
like
believe
Azorius
this
control
round
one.
isn't over already. That felt like it was. We're just looking at an entire game. Yeah, you're right.
What's that? We've had some awesome games here today, Joe.
That one was
Ooh.
interesting. There's a lot going on there on
How do
both sides. That was cool to see that one play out.
how do you feel about this hand from Tim Hatch over here on the blue white control deck? He's got a one fetch and an opt in his hand, but he's got a spreading seas and some other stuff. It looks like he's gonna keep it. He's on the draw.
Going second, Alan Chalice. I mean, Chalice is pretty strong. I mean, if I was playing solos, I think I'd probably keep it. If I'm playing teams, boy,
You gotta
that's
risk it for the biscuit here, Joe.
that's scary. I don't know. I've got teammates. If they went along with it, then it's their fault. I guess Chalice on 0 matters here. Ragavan's gone. Okay, that was a pretty good turn.
You're gonna see the players maybe speed up a tiny bit here because the clock is the enemy here this turn. So
Yeah, maybe we can find out how much time is left in the round.
yeah, that is relevant.
Okay,
All right,
no
no
land
land
yet.
Here we go. Opt. Bottom.
Ah,
The jig's about to be up. Is there a land?
no.
No land. That is a Teferi that was just drawn, Joe. I don't know if you've seen that one yet.
I haven't. I figured out what it was because I couldn't think of what else it could be. But yeah, I have not seen that one.
That's the secret layer, like 1990s stuff. So it's Teferi as if it was printed in 1994. You know, when you were like a 20-year-old.
Right. Okay, not quite.
Okay, sorry, 18.
All right, so Kris Ward, free play as your opponent is missing land drops. We saw this a few rounds ago with Ivan Espinosa, his opponent, when Ivan was missing land drops. Can you punish them? Because they're eventually going to find lands.
They have 5 minutes left to finish this round, Joe. Here's the thing. I believe they can do it. Kris Ward's going to play really fast. He's got a threat in play. And if Tim doesn't draw a land here, which he does not, this is kind of going to be it's going to be a removal spell here, but this is going to be kind of academic from this point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 5
so
minutes.
If he finds any threat.
5 minutes is plenty of time. Now, this is a breach deck. Executing its combo takes a while, but that doesn't matter because you win that turn if it comes to that.
Fourth land is available here. He's got an Otawara. It looks like he might go with an Emery. No artifact yet in the graveyard, but we do have 2 baubles. So Emery trigger. Does look like an artifact was found here.
So,
Oh, I was supposed to say the chalice is on 0, so you can't actually do the other play I was talking about. Yeah,
these baubles are not great.
Land found here from Tim Hatch. We might have a game.
Okay.
Now there is an Otawara in his hand, so what he's going to do here is he might be able to go off. Possibly next turn he has Otawara, and he could bounce the chalice. But let's see. There is a Spreading Seas in Tim Hatch's hand.
That was
that's actually
almost
big here.
An explosives for 0.
This is an explosive for 0, and then a tap of a land.
Yeah, this is an explosives for 1 with Sunburst 0.
Okay, so this is really cool. So it only gets counters for the colored mana that's spinning. So what you can do is you can spin 1 colorless on it here. It gets a round chalice, but still is 0, so he can kill the chalice with it here. So this is going to get the counter spell out of Tim's hand. Very tight play from Kris Ward here. And get into that little cheeky 1.
Yeah. So the Emery can replay the explosives next turn, do the same trick, but it does,
you need the mana from the Urza Saga, though. Yeah.
Well, okay, there goes the Urza Saga.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is why the Spreading Seas is so important.
Wow. This is a real game now.
Yeah, this is why the Spreading Seas was so important here this turn, Joe. It's going to kill the Urza Saga. Now, with that mana floating, the Otawara is going to happen, though. So this is going to bounce the Chalice. The Chalice is going to be out of play for this turn. So, whoa, fumble. I can understand this happening. We're trying to play as quick as possible.
Yeah. He's got his turn here.
So there's the explosives for 0. Like getting that one into play to preemptively circumnavigate that chalice that could come back into play.
The breach is in hand. Okay. Nothing going. So the Otawara, the Otawara is for 3, discounted 1 because the Emery's in play. For a person in chat that's looking at that. Lots of cards in hand here. There's a Teferi to protect the chalice, which is presumably the next play. Nice. Yeah.
I like this. Bounce the engineered explosives, get the chalice into play. Really good back and forth here from these players. We're going to get 2 more cards here for Kris Ward. He did find an Urza. I don't know if he has a 4th mana source here, though. Yeah, attack down to Fairy.
This is the worst Emery I've ever seen.
Yeah. This is that's been alive this long. Yeah, for sure. So a land was found for Kris here. I think the card that he took was a Ragavan. And he's already attacked this turn, so he can't.
Yeah, I thought to myself, I don't know about attacking. Like when you play Explosive Iteration, I wondered if that could have been played pre-combat. Now initially we're thinking when that Dragon Rage Challenge was on the board by itself and Tim had 1 land, like, oh, well, Kris has plenty of time. That was a few minutes ago. And the time was what, 5 minutes then? So this may still be decided in a multitude of different ways.
Yeah, but that clock is looming.
Yeah.
And a
The
draw is probably very bad for both of
yeah,
these
the records
teams.
reset on the screen. I believe these players were, I don't remember if,
So it sounds like
okay,
they're
so
both
they're 4 and
X1.
1,
Yeah.
we think. All right.
And we're in
Less
the
than a
last
minute.
minute of the clock. Yeah. Okay.
But let's keep in mind that Kris can win in one turn if he needs to. Or
Mhm.
well, if he's able to, you know,
Cobble it
if
all
Tim's not
together.
able
Yeah.
to impede him, which is unlikely as Chalice is on the board and there's counters in hand. Okay, Snapcaster opt. Snapcaster doing more work as a blocker here than
Mhm.
it is as anything else. Trades with Ragavan.
All right. Looks like we're into turn 0 here.
I don't know, man. Well, Tim's not winning.
Okay, Tim's definitely not winning this game, but his deck is, I don't think, capable of finishing the game off that fast.
An Urza and a construct for Kris. So he'll have 2 attacks if he's winning. I don't know if he can win on damage. With the Chalice on 0 has made such a difference on what Kris
Mhm.
is just capable of doing here.
Yeah, it's amazing how relevant Chalice on 0 and Modern has become recently. You know, a lot of the Cascade decks have problems with it. You're seeing this Breach deck have problems with it.
Yeah. No, it's really a key card. So if this is a draw, now this is a 7-round event with 120 teams. Based on normal tiebreaker eventualities, like 5-1-1 wouldn't be likely, but it's not impossible.
Right.
So it's certainly possible if time runs out here that these teams might actually elect to draw instead of one team just saying, okay, well, we'll just continue because we have no chance. So I think we might actually see a real draw here because I don't know.
Do I see a way out of this? I
Yeah.
mean, the shields are quote unquote down for Tim here, so I just don't think you can breach with the Chalice for 0 in play.
Yeah.
Is the problem? All right, so there's the breach. I was kind of wondering if he was going to time the Solitude differently to where he could leave up mana for a counter spell just in case like worst case scenario happens here, but it doesn't look like it's all right. So it looks like we're going to, what is this, Expressive Iteration here this turn?
Yeah.
Okay,
And I think there's another breach in hand. So the first one can just try and help set up for the next one.
right. That's a good point. Okay, looks like we're going to get some more mana set up here. Yeah, tons of zeros in the hand. Like if Kris can find a way to deal with this Chalice, Fetchline's going to help fuel those breaches.
Yeah. I mean, the easiest way to kill the Chalice is you have the Emery and use the explosives, but that requires a colorless mana, which we still don't have, right?
Yeah, let's see. I'm trying to think of ways to get around this.
Yeah.
Otawara costs 3 if he finds Otawara. Or it costs 2 now,
Yeah, it
actually,
costs
right?
2 now. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. And
And
now with going back to Tim, he's got mana available, so like these
yeah,
counter spells are alive. And I might be inclined to play this. Oh, you can't play the second Chalice for 0. Yeah, it would counter it from the first one. Thought we could just do the redundant Chalice thing.
would you play the Chalice on 2?
Hmm.
Or would you leave a Archmage's Charm? That's
I
interesting.
think leaving up counter spell is pretty good here.
Yeah, me too. And also, if you play the Chalice on 2 and they do find the colorless land, they get it for free anyway.
Right.
And
Yeah, I was gonna
when I say
say.
they, I mean Chris Ward.
Right. We've been
Okay,
Chalice
Chalice
on
on
1.
1. All right, that stops the explosives for 1 plan.
Yeah, I was gonna say
So
that's a tight play here from Tim.
yeah,
I was gonna say I think this one's gonna be ending in a draw.
yeah.
This
And
is
I
turn
actually think Tim Hatch
4.
is ahead now.
Yeah, I think so too. There's Breach. He can actually get around counterspell tier here. He's got a spell pierce, but I don't know if he's gonna be able to do anything. He doesn't. He can't cast his stuff for 0. He
Right.
can't cast spell pierce
Yeah,
either.
you can't cast
Actually,
spell either.
yeah. So you actually just let this resolve. Okay. Yep. You can expressive iteration. You can spin your wheels. Sure. I mean, there's so much of the deck that Kris can't even use at this point. Is the big problem.
Yeah.
And then you've got a counterspell to stop anything big from here. Okay. Well, there's colorless mana that you were looking for, but we can't make that play anymore. All right. Well, he's gonna chalice check him. I think it looks like possibly.
I mean, the mana's expired at this point. I don't think there's. I mean, I think if you're in this position at the table
Yeah.
now, I think you can't win, but you want to demonstrate that you have a route to victory, so that you can justify when your opponent's like, "Hey, would you concede to us? You're dead." And you're like, "No, actually, we're still in this." Which is kind of an awkward way. Well, everything's awkward when you run out of time, which is most certainly what's going to happen here. All right,
We'll play
fresh
another Emery here.
Emery. Keep the keep the active one. I mean, unless there's something that I'm not aware of a way that Kris can. Yeah,
same.
Yeah, that looked like a pass. And here's Archmage's Charm to draw 2. Sure.
Yeah, I think actually the Azorius player is like pretty far ahead here.
Yeah.
With drawing the removal spells and having counter spells in his hand as well.
Yeah.
It looks like they're going to take the draw here.
Yep. So. Okay. So a draw to end round 6, which will make my notes a mess because I've been writing down the winning team each round, and that's just not going to work. But anyway, hard fought battle. We saw that legacy game. I mean, was wild, and how long that took to resolve itself. And then this one still had a game left, and we got to see a lot of Magic this round. Hope you enjoyed it.